Mr. Bloom admired the caretaker's prosperous bulk. All want to be on good terms with him. Decent fellow, John O'Connell. Real good sort. Keys. Like keys. Add. No fear of anyone getting out. No pass-out checks. Habeas corpus. I must see about that ad after the funeral. Did I write Ballsbridge on the envelope I took to cover when she disturbed me writing to Martha? Did I write Ballsbridge on the envelope I took to cover when she disturbed me writing to Martha? Hope it's not chucked. Hope it's not chucked in the dead letter office. Be the better of a shave. Be the better of a shave. Gray sprouting beard. That's the first sign when the hairs come out gray. And temper getting cross. Silver threads among the gray. Fancy being his wife. Wonder how he had the gumption to propose to any girl. Come out and live in the graveyard. Dangle that before her. It might thrill her first. Courting death. Shades of night hovering here with all the dead stretched about. The shadows of the tombs, when churchyards yawn, and Daniel O'Connell must be a descendant, I suppose. Who is this used to say he was a queer, breedy man, great Catholic, all the same, like a big giant in the dark. Will-o'-the-wisp, gas of graves. Want to keep her mind off it to conceive at all. Women especially are so touchy. Tell her a ghost story in bed to make her sleep. Have you ever seen a ghost? Well, I have. It was a pitch dark night. The clock was on the stroke of 12. Still, they'd kiss all right if properly keyed up. Whores in Turkish graveyards. Learn anything if taken young. You might pick up a young widow here. Men like that. Love among the tombstones. Romeo. Spice of pleasure. In the midst of death, we are in life. Both ends meet. Tantalizing for the poor dead. Smell of grilled beef steaks to the starving gnawing their vitals. Desire to grig people. Molly wanting to do it at the window. 8 children he has anyway. He has seen a fair share go under in his time, lying around in field after field. Holy fields. More room if they buried them standing. Sorry, it's like 6 a.m. right now. Sitting or kneeling, you shouldn't. You couldn't, actually. Standing, his head might come up someday above ground in a landslip with his hand pointing. Above ground in a landslip with his head pointing. All honeycombed the ground must be in oblong cells, and very neat he keeps it, too. Trim grass and edgings. His garden Major Gamble calls Mount Jerome. Well, so it is. Ought to be flowers of sleep, of Chinese cemeteries with giant poppies growing produce. The best opium, Mastiansky told me. The Botanic Garden. The Botanic Garden So I'm just going to put that there. So I can sit back. Where was I? The botanic gardens are just over there. It's the blood sinking in the earth gives new life. Same idea those Jews, they said, killed the Christian boy. That's Jesus Christ. Every man his price. Well preserved, fat corpse gentleman. Epicure. Invaluable for fruit garden. A bargain. By Carcase of William Wilkinson, auditor and accountant, lately deceased. £3, 13 and 6. £3, 13 and 6. With thanks. I dare say the soil would be quite fat with corpse manure. Bones, flesh, nails, charnel houses. Dreadful. Turning green and pink. Decomposing. Rot, quick in damp earth lean. The lean old ones tougher. Then a kind of tallowy, kind of a cheesy. Then begin to get black. Treacle oozing out of them. Ugh. Bones, flesh, nails, charnel houses, dreadful. Turning green and pink, decomposing, rot, quick and damp earth lean, the lean old ones together. And a kind of tallowy, kind of a cheesy. Then begin to get black, treacle oozing out of them. Then dried up, death moths. Of course the cells, or whatever they are, go on living, changing about, live forever practically, nothing to feed on themselves. But they must breed a devil of a lot of maggots. Soil must be simply swirling with them. Your head, it simply swirls. Those pretty little seaside girls. That's a different spelling. Girl with a U. He looks cheerful enough over it. Gives him a sense of power seeing all the others go under first. He looks cheerful enough over it. Gives him a sense of power seeing all the others go under first. He's still thinking about the caretaker. Wonder how he looks at life. Cracking his jokes, too. Warms the cockles of his heart. The one about the bulletin. Spurgeon went to heaven 4 a.m. this morning, 11 p.m. closing time. Not arrived yet. Peter. The dead themselves, the men anyhow, would like to hear an odd joke. Dead themselves, the men anyhow, would like to hear an odd joke, or the women to know about what's in fashion. A juicy pear, or ladies' punch, hot, strong, and sweet. Give out the damn. You must laugh sometimes, so better do it that way. Gravediggers in Hamlet shows the profound knowledge of the human heart. Keeps out the damn. Let's laugh. Sometimes so better do it that way. Gravediggers in Hamlet shows the profound knowledge of the human heart. Daren't joke about the dead for 2 years at least. De mortuis nil nisi prius. Go out of mourning first. Hard to imagine his funeral. Seems a sort of a joke. Read your own obituary notice. They say you live longer. Gives you a second wind. New lease of life. How many have you for tomorrow? The caretaker asked. 2. According to Callahan said. half 10 and 11. The caretaker put the papers in his pocket. The barrow had ceased to trundle. The mourners split and moved to each side of the hole, stepping with care round the graves. The grave diggers bore the coffin and set its nose on the brink, looping the bands round it. Burying him, we come to bury Caesar. The Ides of March or June. He doesn't know who is here nor care. Now who is it, that lanky-looking galoot over there in the Macintosh? Now who is he, I'd like to know. Now, I'd give a trifle to know who he is. Always someone turns up you never dreamt of. Fellow could live on his lonesome all his life. Yes, he could. Still, he'd have to get someone to sod him after he died. Though he could dig his own grave. We all do. Only man buries. No, ants, too. First thing strikes anybody. Bury the dead. Say Robinson Crusoe was true to life. Well, then Friday buried him. Every Friday buries the Thursday, if you come to look at it. Oh, poor Robinson Crusoe. How could you possibly do so? Poor Dingham. His last lie on the earth was in his box. When you think of them all, and it does seem a waste of wood. All gnawed through. They could invent a handsome byre or bier with a kind of panel sliding. Let it down that way. Aye, but they might object to be buried out of another fellow's. They're so particular. Lay me in my native earth. Bit of clay from the Holy Land. Only a mother and dead-born child ever buried in one coffin. I see what it means. I see. To protect him as long as possible, even in the earth. The Irishman's house is his coffin. Embalming in catacombs. Mummies, the same idea. Mr. Bloom stood far back, his hat in his hand, counting the bared heads. 12. I'm 13. No. The chap in the Macintosh is 13. Death's number. Where the deuce did he pop out of? He wasn't in the chapel, that I'll swear. Silly superstition at that about 13. Nice, soft tweed Ned Lambert has in the suit. Tinge of purple. I had one like that when we lived in Lombard Street West. Dressy fellow he was once. Used to change 3 suits in the day. Must get that gray suit of mine turned by Messias. Hello. It's dyed. His wife, I forgot. He's not married. Or his landlady ought to have picked out those threads for him. The coffin dived out of sight, eased down by the men straddled on the grave trestles. They struggled up and out, and all uncovered. 20. Pause. If we were all suddenly somebody else. Far away a donkey brayed. Rain. No such ass. Never see a dead one, they say. Shame of death. They hide. Also, poor Papa went away. Gentle, sweet air blew round the bared heads in a whisper. Whisper. The boy by the grave head held his wreath with both hands, staring quietly in the black open space. Mr. Bloom moved behind the portly, kindly caretaker. Well-cut frock coat. Well-cut frock coat. Weighing them up, perhaps, to see which will go next. Well, it is a damn long rest. Feel no more. It is the moment you feel. Must be damned unpleasant. Can't believe it at first. Mistake must be someone else. It's quite a meditation on death. Try the house opposite. Wait, I wanted to. I haven't yet. Then darkened death chamber. Light they want, whispering around you. Would you like to see a priest? Then rambling and wandering. Delirium all you hid all your life. The death struggle. His sleep is not natural. Press his lower eyelid. Watching is his nose pointed, is his jaw sinking, are the soles of his feet yellow. Pull the pillow away and finish it off on the floor since he's doomed. Pull the pillow away and finish it off on the floor since he's doomed. Devil in that picture of sinner's death showing him a woman. Death in that picture of sinner's death showing him a woman. Devil in that picture of sinner's death showing him a woman. Dying to embrace her in his shirt. Last act of Lucia. Like Lucifer? No. Shall I nevermore behold thee? Bam! Expires. Gone at last. People talk about you a bit. Forget you. Don't forget to pray for him. Remember him in your prayers. Even Parnell. Ivy Day dying out. Then they follow, dropping into a hole one after the other. Wow. We are praying now for the repose of his soul, hoping you're well and not in hell. Nice change of air. Out of the frying pan of life into the fire of purgatory. Does he ever think of the hole waiting for himself? They say you do when you shiver in the sun. Someone walking over it. Callboy's warning. Near you. Mine over there towards Finglas. The plot I bought. Mama. Poor Mama. And little Rudy. The gravediggers took up their spades and flung heavy clods of clay in on the coffin. Mr. Bloom turned his face. And if he was alive all the time? Woof! By jingo, that would be awful. No, he is dead, of course. Of course he is dead. Monday he died. They ought to have some law to pierce the heart and make sure an electric clock or a telephone in the coffin and some kind of a canvas air hole. Flag of distress. 3 days. Rather long to keep them in summer. Just as well to get shut of them as soon as you are sure there's this. The clay fell softer, began to be forgotten, out of sight, out of mind. The caretaker moved away a few paces and put on his hat. Had enough of it.